Hi, welcome to Spark Stories, a monthly program where we find out about the spark that inspired area leaders to step up and enact change to make Des Moines a better place to live. Today, we're with Curtis Covington. He has been an outreach case manager with Hope Ministries since May of 2021, and he's also here at the Des Moines Public Library since July doing our outreach project, July of 2021, doing our outreach project. He's also served on the board of directors at Central Iowa Shelter and Services from 2018 to 2021. He is a veteran who served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he overcame addiction and homelessness, went on to earn a bachelor's degree of social work at Grandview University, and now is working to become a voice to support homeless veterans in Des Moines. Welcome, Curtis. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you tell me and the audience more about the work you do in the community?
Yeah, so I'm a homeless outreach case manager for Hope Ministries. Part of my job is to raise awareness of what we do. So just kind of real quick, we serve free breakfast, lunch, and dinner to the community 7 days a week. At the Bethel Mission and Door Faith, we have our men's shelter and life recovery programs. The Hope Center for Women and Children is where our women's programs are at, and that's over by the fairgrounds. Monday through Friday, I operate a drop-in center so people from the community can come in and they can get a shower, use a phone, computer. I help people get IDs, social security cards, just really listen to their stories and to see how I can help and connect them to resources that can help them. But my main goal is to get people into our facilities, checked into the shelter, and that effort has extremely ramped up since this cold spell here in February or January. A large part of what I do is just making connections in the community too, such as being part of the outreach project that takes place at the library, and collaborating with other service providers. I also frequent downtown and the skywalk systems while I'm out on like street outreach. Like I actually go out, meet people where they're at. Beyond that, I actually go out to their camps too, and try to just see how people are doing, see if I can invite them in for a shower and a hot meal. So it's just getting out there, building relationships, and then inviting people in. Our life recovery programs are unique, and I really kind of like this because we really walk with our residents and helping them transform all aspects of their lives while building a support system to help them through future adverse events. Providing these tools and supports gives them the best chance to remain successful after they're housed. And plus we offer them aftercare to make sure that they can maintain their positive changes and keep moving forward. For the people that like choose not to go into shelters, because it actually happens, so here at Hope Ministries, we don't hand out like heaters and that kind of stuff, but I have no problem with taking that population and connecting them with JAPA or other resources that do. And often I found that doing this kind of work with people, kind of going like above and beyond, actually will open them up to coming in at a later date. One particular activity that I do with the camps that really excites me is each month I identify a camp, I go out there, take them some basic supplies, build that relationship with, and then I will actually set up a time to invite them in, provide transportation so that people can experience what our drop-in center is about, get a hot meal, even haircuts, and then I take them back, hopefully to kind of lower some of the barriers that people have from entering into a shelter. So that's a pretty good gist of the work I
do. And what is, how did you get there? What is your spark story? Was there a specific experience that inspired you to do this type of work?
Lived experience. So my story actually starts years and years ago. I served in the U.S. Army in combat. And after that, I found coming back home, reintegrating into life, very difficult. At this point, I had not known, but I had undiagnosed and untreated mental health problems. Since we're not all social workers out there, right? Like, oh, we'll do this and this for self-care. Lacking the knowledge of coping skills, programs, and services that could help me, I turned to illegal substances to self-medicate. This proved keeping a job and a stable place to live very hard. I was often homeless, sometimes sleeping in my car or staying with friends. I even stayed at emergency shelter in Eastern Iowa. I've slept under bridges, places not meant for habitation. The substance use, of course, kind of had a negative effect on my mental health, and they both spiraled out of control. I mean, until I didn't have a car to sleep in or anything. My drug of choice was actually meth. So it was pretty bad. And the cheapest way to get that was by making it. And so that's what I did. And I struggled with that for years and years. And then that whole combination led to some pretty serious legal issues. And the police were forced to intervene. And I was looking at some pretty serious time in prison. And that's when I kind of made that choice, like, dude, I need to fix my life. Like, so the judge actually offered me, he said, hey, you need to go to treatment, get on track, become the man that you're supposed to be. So that was a pretty big wake up call. So I went to the VA to treatment, not once, but twice, because it's not easy to break addiction. And the second time I came to Des Moines, and I decided just to stay in Des Moines versus going back home to be around the same people and to rebuild my life. So I stayed at a grant per diem program, which is long-term. And I started taking classes at DMAC, where I earned my associate's degree in liberal arts. And that was just a prerequisite to get into the social work program at Grandview. During my time at DMAC, I was exposed to many organizations in the Metro and was asked to serve on the board of directors at Central Iowa Shelter and Services. And I served there until I started my position here. I was asked to leave the board position on conflicts of interest. So I earned my bachelor's degree from Grandview, where, I don't know, defying all odds, I'm extremely proud of this. I graduated summa cum laude, so with like a 3.9 GPA. And I mean, what really drives me and provides that passion for my work is my own past lived experience and knowing the struggles like firsthand with mental health, addiction, and just everything, and helping people move forward in their own lives.
There was an article I read about you from Grandview, I believe, and they titled it Breaking Good, because your story is just like the opposite of the show Breaking Bad. So congratulations on, getting your degree, overcoming that addiction, finding a path forward, and choosing to do something really amazing for the community. So what is the vision you have for what you can do in starting in Des Moines, since you're here? What are you wanting to accomplish as a bigger picture kind of thing in your life, maybe?
As an outreach case manager, it's my job to really meet people where they're at. And that could be, at the library, it could be downtown, in the camps, in the Skywalk, and it has been all of those places. I want to raise awareness of programs and services that Hope Ministries offers, and let them know that I genuinely do care about them. Like, I've been there. I know what it's like. I'm here to walk with you. Many people, I find, just kind of want to be heard, right? Like, they just want to have their story told. And there's some magic in that too, because as someone's telling me their stories, I can kind of figure out, okay, this is where I can help. This is where I can help. This is what I can help you move forward with. Now, sometimes Hope Ministries isn't the answer for everybody. So if it's something else, I can connect with other organizations that do the same work, and maybe we can get a person in over there. Maybe this person's better suited for that program. So it gets really tricky. My personal vision is I don't want any person to go hungry. I don't want anybody to sleep on the streets, not knowing that there's shelters available. I do not want anyone to feel alone in facing his or her own addiction or mental health struggles. I want everyone to know that somebody does care about them and that Hope Ministries is ready to walk beside them in the life transformation process. This does not mean everyone is currently ready for change, but due to the relationship building and the constant invites that I'm always doing, a person knows that Hope Ministries is ready to help when they are ready to change.
I love that. I love that that you just want people to know that there's help out there, and that's your vision. I know how hard it can be when someone feels like they're all alone and doesn't have anywhere to turn. So great, great thing you're doing to get the word out to people who maybe don't have access to computers or internet to find that information, can't necessarily have the digital literacy to look all the things up to find, you need a social work degree sometimes to navigate all of those resources. So
Well, yeah, see, that's just the thing. I mean, how often does the average person know all of the resources and services that are out there? I don't even, I can't expect someone who really needs them to. So sometimes connecting the dots is where I really get my enjoyment.
Yeah. Can you talk about any books that have been influential for you along the way?
Yeah. So first of all, the Bible, it is filled with transformational stories that really just exhibit the power of God. But even through my own recovery, I took a liking to reading books. A lot of the books that I really enjoyed reading were memoirs, stories of people who were faced with and have overcome adversity. One of my favorites is Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. So, I mean, he was faced with like generational poverty, grew up with a father who was addicted to alcohol, and facing the world. JD went on to Ohio State and Yale law schools, and now is an author and has a movie. Another one is The Glass Castle. And I just want to point out that I read these books way before they were both movies by Jeanette Walls. She grew up poor in a dysfunctional family. And in the end, I mean, really her resilience just helped her overcome and just let her be successful in life. And part of her story is forgiveness of her parents and even of herself, which sometimes is a pretty big thing to do. So another person that I liked reading their books is Nathaniel Philbrick. He is what I think is just a great narrative author of American history works from like the Mayflower. And I really enjoyed reading In the Heart of the Sea, which is actually the true story behind Moby Dick. So in many ways, reading like those memoirs anyways, really inspired like hope in myself, just reinforced that change is possible. And if they could face out all their odds and come out on top, that I knew with enough work, I could do it myself.
Yeah, I think memoirs are one of my favorite things to read as well, just hearing people's personal stories and their life. So thank you for sharing your list of favorites. Is there anything else you want to share?
I think I've kind of covered about everything.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kurt, for joining us today. To everyone out there in the audience, I hope you enjoyed hearing Curtis's story of breaking good and his Spark story. And if you want to learn more about Spark Stories, please check out our website, Des Moines Public Library, dmpl.org. And we also have all of our Spark Stories on YouTube, so you can watch all of the old Spark Stories. And just check us out again next month for another episode of Spark Stories. Thank you so much. And thanks again, Kurt, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.